Yeah, hello.
Buenas.
How you doing?
Well, you can probably see in my face. I
What's
remember
wrong?
um, one of your commenters early on in September, whatever, when we were going through the home purchase. He said I looked like a washed-up, middle-aged, typical expat.
What, you've seen yourself in the mirror?
Today, yeah, I'm definitely suffering from the. It was the morning after the night before, and it's been the whole day after the night before.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd never learn. Don't
You've
go
had a
out
bit
with
of
Russians.
you've had a bit of a bad run lately, Nick, with a few things. You got your house, then your car had an embargo on it, which you still haven't sorted out, and then
Correct.
you tell me the other day that your electrics blew up.
Yes. Yeah. I think you should rename these videos to Calamity Nick in Spain, something along those lines.
That's it. That's
It's
it.
never
That's it.
ending. It's cost me £1,000 this week.
Has it?
Yep. So this whole thing kicked off on Tuesday, I think it was. Yeah, Tuesday morning. I went to switch the washing machine on. Okay. The initial lights came on, put everything in, pressed start, and the machine just went tick, 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 tick. Oh God, what the hell's going on here? Now I had a power cut as well a few days beforehand, which I didn't read much into at the time because I just reset the circuit breakers.
Yeah.
So anyway, I went and reset them again and came back and nothing was happening. So I needed some help because I'm not what do you do with a washing machine if it's not working? I mean, there's only so much you can do as an end user. So I called a company who sent somebody round, and within 5 minutes he said the motherboard panel has blown. So that was the death of my washing machine.
Yeah.
Okay. So straight onto Amazon, ordered a new one. Okay. And that was set for delivery on Friday. Meanwhile, my cleaner, who is also the wife of the friend of the two Russians that I went out with last night, she came round with her husband. We took the old machine. Sorry, before they could take the old machine away, which was scheduled for Thursday, I had to disconnect it. Now look, it's a washing machine. It's not rocket science. Unplug the electricity cable, go to the tap, switch it off, unscrew the tube. So Bob's your uncle, right?
Should be.
How hard can it be?
That's
so
it.
This thing here, I was turning this, and I turned it a full 180 degrees, thinking it was off. Okay, so I start then to disconnect this tube, and obviously, as you begin to disconnect, that little gap means the water starts spraying out. Okay, if it's not off. Okay, so this water started spraying out, and I'm thinking, oh, that's odd. Maybe this is water that's left in the tube and inside the machine. Okay, I'll keep it where it is. Let the water come out, and it carried on. So I tightened it up again. Had a think. We looked at this thing and turned it again back, and maybe there's just a lot of water. So I undid it, and this time I went the whole route. Okay, and got the tube off. Okay, at which point my floor now has become flooded. I quickly grabbed a bucket thing, right? Because now the water is actually still coming out of the tap. Oh, what the hell's going on? So I'm now thinking, okay, I need to get this tube back on, which I did, right? Then I came into the kitchen. I thought, well, there must be another tap somewhere somehow that's causing something. Looked under the sink. I could see there was a tap with a tube feeding in that direction. So I thought, well, that must be it. I turned that one off. Back to the tube, the tap for the washing machine. Went through the exercise again. Same result. Water spraying all over the place. By which now I could get the Titanic in there and start sailing.
So you had to call a plumber as well.
Well, what I did was, in desperation, I thought, this ain't right here. So I called a friend of mine who is a builder. Bill the Builder, his name is, and he said to me, Nick, he says, look at the knob on the top of the thing. It's got a little screw in it.
Okay.
Take the screw out and take the knob off, because it's quite possible that the knob actually is not working and it's not actually changing the spindle. Okay. So I did this and I could see that it's actually plastic, this, and it's actually got you can see it's actually broken. Yeah. So thank God for that. Got the pliers out, turned the spindle, job done. Finally. Yeah.
Lucky you had Bob the Builder on speed dial. That's it.
Yeah. Thankfully, Amazon did deliver the new machine, and that's up and running. Better performance from them than the last time.
Well, that's another story that you've got up your sleeve.
Yeah. Well, let's finish the electric saga off. So with the power cuts that I've had, so we don't know whether the washing machine itself caused the problem with the electricity circuits, or the washing machine issue was a result of the circuits. Okay, it's difficult to know for certain. But when my cleaner's husband was here, he also brought a friend of his who was a qualified electrician, very good professional guy. So we had a look at the circuit breakers and the board next to the front door. So we made the decision, let's change the lock, because obviously they've all been in there since the apartment was built 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if this is a regular thing that people go through, but he came today, and it's all chain, looks wonderful, looks really, really good. So I'm happy now that hopefully all of my electric problems are now sorted. But between the washing machine, calling people, getting him here, doing the job, and everything else, it's cost me nearly €1,000.
Well, I think you just have to put it down to collateral damage, as they say, when you buy a second-hand place, Nick. And
I know,
and I suppose 20 years is not all that old for the wiring, but you never know what the problem is. I know there are some situations here that maybe the wiring doesn't have the necessary capacity for the modern gadgets. Maybe that's one of the problems as well. Don't know.
I lost the microwave as well.
Okay.
That blew up, so I've had to buy a new one of those. So hopefully it's all done. I mean, when did obviously the EU, when that came very much into force with standards, health and safety and standards. I mean, I presume there are a set of standards that Spanish builders have to adhere to in relation to EU standards. I would have
obviously.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if the circuitry system here is a part of those standards, or whether this was built before those kinds of standards came in. I'm not sure, but yeah.
Well, I know that one of the first things that caught my attention when I first moved here was that you'd move into a house and you'd have different types of sockets in the walls. So you'd have ones with a very thin, I don't know the exact terminology for these things, but for very thin plug sockets.
I know what you mean. Those. Yeah, the little sort of with the diagonal sort of triangles at each end thin.
That's it. And
then you got the round ones.
And the round ones as well. That's it. And they're not compatible. And sometimes in the same house you can find different sort of fittings, and it was a little bit strange. And I remember in Portugal when we first went there, we didn't contract enough electricity, and as soon as you turned the oven on, boop, it would go off. So we had to get more, and that's a common problem for a lot of people as well. They've either got too much or too little when it comes to the amount of what the electricity that they have contracted.
Well, the guy said to me today as well that. So where on the original board there, so there's two boards, yeah. You've got the big one with all the individual circuit breakers, and then you've got the so-called master. Now, I just had the one master switch before, but what he's put in today, he called it a differential, something or other, right? And apparently that helps with controlling the flow to make sure you don't get overloaded. Because that might have been part of the problem.
So I was just going to say, let's be honest, we do have a lot more gadgets and things nowadays than we did 20 years ago.
Yeah, the likes of you and me who kind of are working at home all the time. We're using all different IT gadgets as well as your usual TV and kitchen appliances and things. Yeah, I suppose these electrical systems are not really designed for that kind of use.
No, that's true.
Yeah.
Now, we'll just go back to the story about the car. You haven't got that sorted yet, right? So the story is that you went to get it put into your name, and apparently there's some money owing on it or something, and you couldn't get that done.
Yeah, so I got the forms. I spoke to my lawyer. He contacted the other lawyer. I've also called the other lawyer, and he's promised me earlier on this week to get hold of the owner, the lady who's obviously back in the UK now, because it needs them first, if possible, to figure out what's gone on. I don't have a problem necessarily if it's difficult to get hold of her or it's going to be difficult to sort out. Then potentially what the gestoria said to me was I could pay 20 euros, which enables us, as in the gestoria and myself, to see what the embargo is, to get access to it, and then another 20 euros to do some kind of process to then allow us to pay that embargo. But of course, then a lot will depend on what the embargo is. Because at this point, I have no idea. It could be something to do with taxes, a fine, parking.
Tickets. Yeah.
I mean, she wouldn't have got a speeding ticket, that's for sure. She was, yeah.
Well, that's it. She was an elderly lady, probably not ripping up and down the Marbella motorway. That's it.
No.
Now, when it comes to driving, Nick, you got your license and everything sorted out before Brexit came in?
Yeah, well, I did that, the switch from the UK to the Spanish license.
Which is in the press a lot. It's in the press a lot nowadays.
Because they've just extended the deadline again, I believe, to the end of February. Why don't they just get it done? They've got to do it. I mean, it's not a difficult process. You don't have to take a test.
No.
The only thing you have to do is I had to visit some kind of doctor or something just to have, the usual sort of, you get an eye test, coordination test. Yeah. Holding the fancy gadgets and things. And that's the only thing I had to do. You take that test, take your old license with you to the DGT. In the case down here, it's Malaga. And you hang around for an hour and you get your new license. I mean,
easy.
Yeah. So what's the problem? There's a site on Facebook called Brexpats. Yeah, which I often visit, and it's just, the people keep on asking the same questions. Do I have to switch license? Well, look, surely if your intention is to live in Spain, right, which is part of the EU, okay, then surely it makes sense. Regardless of regulations, surely you should be looking to switch your license from a non-EU, which is what the British license is now, to an EU license. I mean, just do it. I mean,
that's it. And it gives you the ability to be able to drive in Spain without any problems. And if you do have a car, you can enjoy that. You can enjoy that possibility, which is also what you've been doing, I hear. Visiting places.
Yeah, well, I the 14 years I spent in Torreblanca, which is the far end of Fuengirola, I was a bit spoilt in the sense of the train station was like 1.5 minutes walk away. Taxi rank just down the bottom of the hill. The beachfront there, another 2 minutes to get to, and then walk into the centre of Fuengirola. So I didn't actually need a car, right? So because I didn't need a car, I had no fundamental desire either to hire one really and travel about. But now I've got this car, it's kind of, I'm thinking, well, actually, the world has just opened up to me a bit more. And I've already been to visit the lovely town of, or village of Coin, which is not that far away. I mean, it took me from here, where I'm at Mikas Golf, it took, 20 minutes I was there?
What is it, up in the mountains there, is it?
Yeah, it's quite a trek. It's a very popular cyclist route as well. Yeah, the cyclists, they love going up there and then, steaming on down the hill when they're finished. And the other place I went to, I've got a friend who lives there now, which really was quite a drive, was Manilva. Other side of Estepona. And that was quite nice, actually. We went to visit a restaurant while I was there. It's very mountainous, or hilly, should I say. It's always difficult to know at what point does a hill become a mountain. I don't know if you know, in terms of height. I don't know. No, I don't know. But it's classic sort of
hilly
Spanish
drive.
hilly with the olive trees and
Yeah, okay.
kind of the bush type feel to it, you know. And really, it was quite beautiful there. So
So Spain's your oyster.
Yes, I might take a leaf out of your book soon and start driving a bit further, maybe down to Jerez, Cadiz, Huelva, and so I might find myself in the Algarve one of these days.
Well, when you get to Huelva, that's it. You just cross the border, cross the river there, I think, and you're into Portugal.
Yeah,
And Granada. Yeah, you could go anywhere.
Yeah. Granada I've not done yet. I would like to. Sevilla. Cordoba I have no interest because I've already seen that through being on the train a couple of times. I'd also probably like to go and check out the other direction. I have been to Nerja a couple of times anyway, but I would like to go check out Almeria and that sort of area, and continue up the coast as well. You know, maybe one day even make it. Which comes first from? Is it Alicante or Valencia?
Alicante is south of
Alicante
Valencia.
first. Okay. Yeah. So
So hit the Mediterranean. Well, actually, you can go from where you are. Just take the Mediterranean road all the way around Almeria.
I saw that.
That's it, and then that goes all the way up. I think up into Catalonia. I think.
Yes, it stops. I think it's the AP7.
That's the one.
All the way through.
Well, I don't know where it's the AP. I think the AP is a pay road. I think, and the A7. I think it's called. I'm not 100% sure, but I think AP normally. I think they're pay roads.
Yes, well, certainly the one. Yeah, the AP7 all the way down to past Estepona is pay. I think there is a section that's pay on the other side of Malaga going up towards Almeria somewhere, I think. And then, it is I think you've got both the A7 and the E17, I think. Somehow.
Not sure.
Yeah, got that way.
Not sure. That's it. Now, do you have any problems driving in Spain? Or is there anything that makes you a little bit worried when you get behind the wheel? Well, obviously driving on the other side of the road and sitting on the other side of the car.
That I'm used to, because I've lived in other countries before, such as the Netherlands. I did own a car there. I tell you what I have noticed about. I don't know, because obviously I've not actually had to take the Spanish driving test, right? Because I'm just switching licenses. But it's incredible the way people use roundabouts, right? Now we're taught, I was taught when I did my driving in the UK that so if you've got two lanes, okay, and you're going to go left, okay, then
in the UK.
In the UK, I'll stick with the Spanish version in terms of I'm so used to it now. Imagine there's two lanes and I wanted to go left. Now, my training in the UK would say to me, be in the left-hand lane and indicate that I'm going to be going left. I want to let other road users know what my intention is. I'm going to go left. And then as I go round the roundabout, and I begin to approach that turning that I'm going to take, now I switch my indicator to right, as in I'm now about to turn to the right, to go in. Okay, so it's two indications. Okay, I've noticed they don't do that here. For some strange reason, they'll do the second indication, yes. But the amount of times I stop to enter a roundabout and the cars are coming round and I'm thinking, where are they going? There's no indicators, and all of a sudden they'll come round. Yeah. Right, and it's like, well, why couldn't you let me know? I could have gone out. I've noticed that so much. I don't know if you.
Yeah, well, that's one of the big problems with roundabouts here. The law is quite clear, and it's a big topic of debate on various expat or foreign resident forums around the country. Nick, is that, for example, if you're on a roundabout with 1, 2, 3 exits, technically, right? Yeah. So when you enter, and let's say it's a two-lane roundabout. Yeah. Here in Spain, you can be in the far right lane all the way around, and then take the third exit. There's no problem with that. Okay.
Wow. Okay.
But the law states that if you're in the centre lane and you want to exit the roundabout, you can exit the roundabout not at the first one, but you can exit at the second one as long as you move into the right lane to exit, okay? But that's what people don't do. They often exit from the inside lane of the roundabout, and that's what causes the confusion, because a person here will go straight and this person will be coming around, okay? And then that often causes an accident here, or sometimes over at this exit here as well. And that's one of the big differences of driving here and in Portugal, for example, because in Portugal, you're only allowed to be in the right-hand lane on a double-lane roundabout if you're going to take the first exit out. But if you're going straight ahead, let's say, you have to be in the middle, on the inside of the roundabout, and then work your way out of it that way. Also, hopefully indicating. But
yes,
the big problem,
that would make more sense to me. Yeah.
The big problem is indication.
Right. So it's not me being silly. Then you agree? It's kind of confusing a little bit in terms of what people are doing.
The law states, and if I'm wrong, somebody's going to pick me up on this. But to exit a roundabout here in Spain, you have to be on the right hand lane inside the roundabout, but people do exit it from the left hand.
But do you have to indicate? That's
you don't have to indicate because
really? Wow.
No, because when you are taught when I went, so as I said in a recent video, when I went through the driving tests, you didn't have to indicate per se, but it's common courtesy.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, that's where I'm coming from. Surely, I mean, I like to let other people know what my intention is.
Well, that's the purpose of an indicator, right? Yeah. So to indicate your intention of what you're going to do.
Yeah.
So as soon as you don't use your indicator, the system breaks down because the other driver doesn't know what you're going to do. Therefore, it becomes dangerous to drive.
One of the things I saw about indicators, by the way, one of the Guardia Civil, our wonderful police force, traffic police force, they can now fine you for using your hazard warning lights. Now, imagine you're going down one of the carreteras, you're going along at reasonably high speed, and there's an incident in front of you.
Yeah, it's but that's what you're not allowed to use them for.
I know. That's what you're going to get fined for. But they're saying you've got to somehow get your window down and put your arms out to let people know there's an incident.
So what? So the thing is here that you're driving down the motorway and there's a traffic jam up ahead. You see the traffic jam. You put on your warning lights.
Because you can do it so
lights
quickly.
Start flashing, and the cars behind you know that there's an incident up ahead, and you slow down.
Exactly.
So now you can get fined if you put those on. But realistically, Nick, the civil guard is not there. I don't think they're going to fine too many people for doing that. There's also a change in the rules that you don't have to use that little triangle if you break down on the side of the road. Now, they're moving on to a new system where you have to put some type of light onto the top of the car.
Really?
Yeah, so these are things that are changing all the time. But you still see people hopping out of the car and putting down this little triangle, which I don't know whether is necessary anymore or not, but it's slowly being worked out of the system. So the rules are constantly changing.
What I was pleased with the car I've got is that yes, there is a triangle in the boot, and the fluorescent jacket is there as well.
That's it. As I said, I don't think you need that triangle anymore, or you won't need it shortly. I don't think. No, you have to get a little light, I'm not sure what they're called. It's like is it a beacon light or something that you have to put on top of the car? And similar in a boat, I think if you get into trouble in a boat, they know where to find you. Do you know what I mean?
Get fined for not putting the light in the right place on the roof. Oh God.
Yeah, well, I've seen a few people with that now, but it's always been in theory, I don't think you're allowed to stop on the motorways if you do break down. You have to try to find your way to the next exit. So you can also get fined
That's fine. I mean, that's common sense because it's a safety thing. It just for me the hazard warning lights got me because it's just quick and easy, a natural thing, and everybody understands what it is. Like the guy behind you, if you put your lights on, he just knows. Slow down, something's going on.
Yeah.
Whereas that extra time it takes to get the window down. And if even if it's electric, you've got to wait for the window to come down. You're talking here 2-3 seconds before the window's down far enough, where then you can get your hand out.
So it can take a little while sometimes to find that button if it's a new car. But people love to put those warning lights on here, even when they're just parking, when they're double parked.
Yeah, but that's naughty. Fine, that I'll go along with. Yeah, a guy let's be frank, taking the piss. Right, he wants to whiz into the supermarket for a pint of milk, and especially when it's but
they do. But that happens all the time.
Yeah, I know. I just that does wind me up, right? Because especially where it's a road with 2 lanes and it's used by buses, so the 2 lanes could be busy. He stops, puts his hazards on, gets out and goes to the supermarket. And the bus now is struggling to get by, and everything else gets clogged up. Oh, yeah. That's keep your patience time, Nick. Yeah.
That's it. We could talk about that all day. That's right. The ins and outs of driving here in Spain. But that's it. So now you've got the car, you'll be able to hit the road. Yeah.
Should we talk about my Amazon experience? It was quite fun.
What happened exactly?
Yeah. So I think I've sent you. I think you've got a photo of the TV. Now, when I bought the brand new TV, to begin with, I placed it low on the main sort of wall unit there, and I wanted it raised. So I thought, right, I'll buy a TV cabinet. Okay, so Amazon, in my experience, I think the same with you. They've been fantastic. I love them.
I've never had a problem with Amazon so far. No.
Yeah, especially for somebody like me who works at home, the idea of when they say you're going to get your delivery sometime between 9 in the morning and 10 at night, I don't have a problem with that. And they do tend to call you mobile anyway to just ask, are you there? Right? In my experience. So when did I get? I paid for this. I think it was the 3rd of January, and the delivery was scheduled for the 5th, right? 2 days, the day before Reyes. So I'm sitting here on that day, waiting and waiting and waiting. It gets late, and it gets to just after 10 o'clock, and I see the message. Dear customer, we're very sorry, but we seem to have lost your delivery. And I thought to myself, now hang on a second. If this were like a little USB stick or Rubik's Cube or something, something small, you can understand it being lost. I don't know if these things happen. It's a whacking great TV cabinet. How do you lose a TV cabinet? So we do apologize that you're not going to have your delivery in time for, Three Kings Day. And then the day after, I get the message, we found your delivery. So they delivered it the following day. Well, they didn't say. They just say, we found it.
It's in the back of the van.
It was disappointing to begin with, but fine. In the end, they redeemed themselves. So I'm okay with that. Yeah.
My experience with Amazon here is quite good. They're a lot better now. I mean, the old 10
it's fantastic.
The old 10 to 8 delivery time now. They've got it like you can see on the app. You're the next one in line, or there's 2 people ahead of you. So it has got a lot better in the last few years.
And just the things you can buy on it. I mean, it's just wonderful,
Well, it's
Stuart.
an amazing marketplace.
Oh, I mean, what have I done here? Obviously, buying a new home, it's obvious you're going to want to buy stuff, right? And I've had to do quite a bit. So it's the microwave, it's the washing machine, the TV, was bought through Amazon, the TV cabinet. I mean, the list goes on and on. These new headphones I got from Amazon. And of course, what's great about it is, when I was thinking about the microwaves and stuff, and the TVs, when you go into particular shops, there's a limit there to the different marks, makes and models that they've got. Whereas Amazon obviously can bring everything together. So when you're browsing the pages, there's just so much more choice. I think it's brilliant. I mean, their business model, let's face it, is superb. I mean, I don't know how they do it, whether it's a percentage or a fixed amount depending on what the purchase price is in terms of how they make their money. But principally, they're doing it on volume, right? So even if they're only making like €1 across the board here in Spain, if it's millions and millions and millions of transactions, you can understand their business model is superb. So,
well, I think they were losing money a while there because, I mean, you can get products worth €5 or €6 delivered to your door. So I can't see how they're making money on those. But I think the idea from the beginning has been to dominate the market, dominate web page search, and then it takes care of the rest, and that's the...
Yeah, but the thing is now, what they've managed to achieve, you see, which is how it works, is when they're loading these vans, these lands are fully loaded with many, many deliveries, right? So the economies of scale kick in. So if you were loading a van with only 2 or 3 deliveries, you're going to lose money. But now they've made their business so good, and there's so much, so many orders coming their way that literally they can fill these vans. So a guy can start off in Malaga doing a run, and he might have 20 or 30 stops. in which case the whole thing becomes profitable for them.
Yeah, yeah. And I think also that it becomes even more profitable when they don't go to everybody's home individually. They take a whole bunch of stuff to one of these Amazon lockers at the supermarket or wherever they have them around the place, and then you go and pick them up there with, you've seen those lockers, right? These Amazon lockers.
Well, I haven't seen them yet here in Fuengirola.
Well, there must be one somewhere.
I would have thought so, yeah. The first time I saw them was actually on my trip to the UK in November.
Oh, okay.
Because at first I didn't know what they were. I hadn't seen them before, but then I was informed and I thought, that's brilliant, yeah.
That's it. Well, I mean, if you could take a whole van and just stick them in those lockers, then obviously it's a lot more efficient than going to people's homes.
Of course, yeah. No, so it's very, very good. I think life is a lot easier for us these days with people like Amazon around.
Absolutely. All right, good. Now, Nick, we've been going for nearly 30 minutes, so we'll start to wrap it up. Good speaking to you again, and we'll be in contact.
Okay, then. All right. Cheers.
All right, see you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.